And honestly, I do hope that like Pokemon coach or whatever becomes a real job, becomes like a legitimate job at some point, like a legitimate meaning like a
Right.
well-paying job where you.
What do you think it'll take to like? In my
I think
opinion, I think Pokemon's got to back it, right?
I mean, first of all,
More.
Pokemon needs to get out of the fucking Stone Age when it comes to sponsorships and stuff. I mean, in Sword and Shield, even in like the Sword and Shield promos, as in promotional videos, like they have whatever the characters wearing their jerseys with sponsored logos on them, or whatever. But in the trading card game in real life, they can't fucking
No,
wrap
no,
their.
no.
Maybe
No,
this
no,
is maybe this
no.
is the new step. Maybe this is the new step when Sword and Shield comes out. I mean, it's maybe it is evolving.
We can
Maybe
only
it is
hope.
evolving. Welcome back, everyone, to the Faded Town podcast, the #1 Pokemon podcast in the world. Again, those are facts. I got my boy Zach Everest here. I'm Kevin. We got another special guest for you today. He is the Sam Stoice. He's the guy who plays your deck better than you, Mr. Popularity, Sam Chen. Welcome to the show.
What's up, guys?
Dude.
Thanks for having me. And for the record, I do not play Pokemon well anymore. I'm trying to get back in. I'm trying to. So we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, well, you do like zero testing and you give 0 fucks, but you still will do well. You know,
Ghost of Zero League Cups
Yeah.
makes worlds.
You're that guy.
I'll say this. I was like talking to Zach on PM yesterday, and I actually tested a few games just so I'd like get a sense of the format in case that ever came up. I don't want to sound like
Did your decks have DCE in them?
it was very recently that I learned that DC rotated. So like too recently. I was,
Oh, he told me that. You're like, wait. I built this deck. You're like,
That was
Rolls. Like, DC's
Yeah.
rotated. What?
Rahul showed me like a wheezing list. And I'm like, wait, this deck would be so much like why don't you play DC? It's gonna be so much better. He's like, what the fuck?
Stupid.
Oh,
Why
my
wouldn't you
God.
play
Oh, my God.
DC?
All right.
He told me to go back to Taiwan and talk to him later. I think is what he told me to.
Sounds about right.
All right. Well, let's
All
hear
right.
about you. How's your day going?
Yeah.
I'm doing up. Worked for a bit. Just got off a call with a client trying to make that money so I can buy cards from Unified Minds, I guess,
All right.
and also buy the airplane tickets I need to go to I don't know.
So you still
I don't know the SBs next year in like Singapore and like Brazil.
Okay, just asked all that today.
Well, I thought you were saying that you needed your airplane ticket to Worlds. I'm like, you don't already have that? I thought you were like.
I got it. I got it.
Right, you're good.
That's what's up. So, like, one thing we always ask the guests is because top players travel everywhere, what do you do for a living? From what we've learned, most top players just do Pokemon, which is very.
No,
Surprising,
it's
I
not.
guess?
It's not. If
Is it? Yeah.
No.
Come on. How do you travel the world just playing just doing Pokemon?
That's all
It's
they
pretty
do.
surprising.
That's all they do. They don't. It's
I
not
know,
like they
that's what
have,
I'm saying.
most people don't have like
Like,
lives.
how much money are they really making?
Probably
to be able to
not
travel.
much. Probably not much. But they're not. It's not like
Enough to travel?
They don't have a life outside. It's not like they're going out and partying after
I know.
the tournaments. They're like literally flying to the tournament and then going somewhere else.
I actually have a theory on why like most travel are the ones who like play like who do Pokemon for a living. But to answer your question first, I work at a consulting firm. Basically, what I do is I build and validate statistical models for banks. That's the easy way to say it. So in terms of like the type of stuff I do, it's a combination of statistics and finance, and I do a lot of coding as well. So it's a mixture of those three worlds. For I don't know, for banks, I'm like someone you can rent for a little bit to project for them, and then guys, I have some like expertise in some like very specific fields of banking. So
that makes you extremely valuable in the banking world, and a hot commodity, right? Like you could charge whatever the hell you want.
It's not true. I mean, we still have to have competitive pricing, but I mean, I built up a good network, I think, in banking.
Do you,
so I mean,
do you
that's
lowball?
cool.
Do you lowball?
Basically work
Do you
remotely,
lowball
right?
your competitors ever?
What?
Do you
No.
lowball? No.
Lowball my
Yeah,
competitors.
it's like, I'm gonna do it for like, this price to actually secure the deal.
I mean, it's an industry secret, right? It's no, I'm kidding.
Whatever. You can say that. That's allowed. You can say I don't want to answer your fucking question, Kevin.
We price competitively.
Okay.
I'd say sometimes we go low if we want to get a project or if it's someone we worked with before. But you know,
Alright.
it's no different than any other sort of consulting business where, you know, the pricing of that. This is you guys talked to me about some interesting shit like before we started recording, and now we're talking about fucking competitive financial consulting. Fuck is this?
So does this help? Does this help with your I guess skills in Pokemon?
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, I guess it's like the strategic thinking and like doing the stats and coding sort of helps. It's sort of like the same, like the mental acuity part and thinking about problems. There's some connection. I'll say like what helps most about my job with Pokemon is that I work from home, so I get to set my own schedule. So like there's some days I do work like 14 hours from home, but then you know I get to travel more freely on Fridays and to go to.
There you go. That works.
Wherever your laptop is, you pretty much can work. Right?
Really, yeah. There's a joke for that period that I was like international last season to cement like the top 16 spot. There was a joke in the company that I like worked from like whatever airport lounge I was in. So people would like be like, oh, where's Sam this week? Is he in
Jakarta?
Jakarta,
You're
yeah.
the Jakarta champion. I look at your limit list. I'm like, this fool went in Jakarta. Where the fuck is Jakarta?
Yo, Jakarta's hella nice, man.
I guess
I'm going back to if there are another regional there. It's an hour flight from Bali, which is like the nicest beach in Asia.
Shit, okay.
Jakarta is some cheap ass food. We stayed at a 5-star hotel for $50 American.
Let's go. What are we doing, Zach? Let's go.
You have a job. You have a real job. We can't go.
I can't go there.
The expensive part was the airplane ticket. It was like $900.
Hell
like
no.
8 to 9.
Hell no. I got
for a 60-man regional that gets you like 500 worth it, dude.
It's like a vacation though. It's like yeah, you're spending $900 to get there, $50 for the rest of your shit, and then
the only person that's gonna go is Sam, and he doesn't even know DC's rotated. So like,
easy win, easy points, baby.
Money.
I mean, for me too. Like, I made a trip out of it. So like, I even we went to this place afterwards. This is between day 1 and day 2. We went to this place afterwards called Chicken and Beer, which is exactly what it sounds like. They serve fried chicken and they serve beer, and they have a live band doing karaoke.
Oh my god.
One of the competitors' dads like knows the owner there at Chicken and Beer, and so they got me on stage. I did some like Bruno Mars shit, like a live.
Sounds about right.
Yeah, it was
I have this image of you drinking a pina colada, fucking singing Bruno Mars on stage.
Dude, mojito type, dude.
Yeah.
Dude, I love those fruity drinks, man. Pina colada is my shit. You can mix coconut with anything, and I'll totally drink.
So wait, let's get back to Pokemon. Anyways, how long?
Let's talk about my favorite things to drink.
Okay, yeah, we can do that.
That's fine.
I don't know.
We do whatever we want.
We got Pokemon.
So how long you been playing? Like you've been
playing off for about 20 years.
Yeah,
I started in 1999. I was in 5th grade. I was 10. I was in.
What's your pop ID?
10.
How many digits?
I was 11, 10, 11. So here's the thing. My old pop ID was 4 digits. When I came back after college, I asked TPCI to merge my 2 pop IDs, and they ended up merging it into the 6-digit one. So now I have the 6-digit pop ID.
These guys.
They took it back to me, and they merged me into my new one.
It's rude.
I'm just like, this is not worth another 2 years of waiting for a
You're like, this is not what I asked for, but I guess we'll take it.
Whatever. It doesn't matter. Yeah.
All right. 20 years.
So I actually started playing. I started playing in 1999, and the reason I started doing competitive is because one of the cute girls in my class went to Pokemon League every like Wednesday or whatever it was at the local store. So I'm like, I gotta. Like 10-year-old Sam was like, I gotta fucking show up because this is how I'm gonna get the girl.
Dude, I didn't know.
It's the only way I would think Sam would play Pokemon. It would be like, I gotta go. If someone came out to me and was like, why do you think Sam Chen ever started playing Pokemon? I'm like, Probably girl related, 100%.
Which is so strange because you're
With their alcohol.
you're like I don't tell anybody I play Pokemon.
Who, me?
You,
Yeah, I tell everyone now, but last year no one.
He was.
I mean, I'm gonna say like it worked out for me just because I was like, so I was like the tallest person in class my entire year, like or my entire.
You still fucking are. I like you stand up
I know.
like I'm tall, but then I like see you and I'm like, God, this guy is way taller than I fucking thought. This guy's a giant.
Yeah, I'm 6'5", so I'm pretty tall, and so like as a result, I never got bullied for any of this. It's like why pick on someone taller than you? It doesn't make sense for playing Pokemon, you know.
Yeah.
No, yeah, and so I played at League, and I wasn't super competitive until like 2001, 2002. Then I started winning some stuff locally, like when I got better analytical skills. I don't know, my brain grew up, I guess, and then so then I started playing, and then before college in 2004, I made Worlds, and like 2005, I was applying to schools, and I sort of quit then, made a decision or my parents like talked me into it, but it made sense at the time, you know. It was like also like the second year that Nintendo took over for Wizards of the Coast. So like there was some uncertainty about the future of the game as well. So, you know, why like play this and chase this when you could be focusing on more important stuff? And my parents were right, you know, get into a good school and grind and, you know, graduate, make your own money, then you can do whatever the hell you want. So that's sort of what I did Pokemon for 6.5 years, I guess. 6.5 to 7 years from like 04 to 2011. I played some random tournaments in the middle. Like I went to a random Rhode Island States in like 09 and played Rampardos an event just because I wanted to. I missed the game. No, but then I came back. You know, when I paid off my student loans or the loans I took out when I was in college. And yeah, and then I started playing again. And sort of never stopped.
Did anyone like get you back in the game, or was that always the plan? Was it always the plan? I'm gonna play when I'm ready to.
I always wanted. Actually, my oldest friend from Pokemon is Mike Fouché. We've known each other. I like to joke. Knew each other since we were the same height because I knew him when I was 11 and he was 10 or something like that. So Mike Fouché is still like 4'3" or whatever he is now. No, all love to Mike. No, but I, you know, so we known each other for a very long time. And so I went to one nationals. This is the oh God, it was, I forgot. I forgot. This is the nationals the year David Cohen won. So I think it was 2011. David Cohen won Worlds. So it was 2011. And then I met up with Mike like at lunchtime between rounds 3 and 4. And we got to chatting. One thing led to another, and I sort of just came back to the game.
All right. That's what's up. I think everyone tries to take a break, but like you're just never done, right? I don't think.
Well, here's a cool part. When you're in college, when you have no money and no car,
I don't know. Talking to these other kids that's all they do is Pokemon, and they're in college. They're doing it somehow. I don't know.
Yeah,
that's all they do is Pokemon.
Look, I go back to what I said earlier about people who play Pokemon.
Yeah, what's your theory?
That's what I want. I've been waiting for this. I want to hear your theory.
It's not really controversial or anything at all. I just think that people who care about the game more and like are better at the game are better equipped to make a living off of it through coaching and through doing well at tournaments. So it's like there's sort of like a selection process. It's like a natural selection process for who's able to travel are the people who are able to do well enough, and the people who are able to do well enough are the ones who can coach. And then so then eventually, you know, some people coach and stream and make enough money to support themselves, and then so they can keep doing it. And so it's sort of like a virtuous cycle that gets people into locked into sort of the spot.
But still, that's not going to make them, you know, fucking millionaires. That's going to sustain. That's going to sustain their living. I mean, I guess you're right. You never know.
Does it?
I mean, there's people. I think the people who truly make money off Pokemon are the collectors and sellers who like product, or I guess people who get hired by Pokemon.
Right.
Make money off.
Yeah.
And like, for example, like Jay Witz, who I'm good friends with, like he leveraged his Pokemon streaming and I think he got 5th or something at Worlds. He leveraged that into a much bigger thing, got on King of the Nerds, got a better following. Now he does Nintendo videos, you know, news updates. And so you can sort of correlate how many views he has and subscribers with
Yeah, he's good.
personalities make. So I mean, he's made a very good living off Pokemon, starting off
Right.
Pokemon.
Okay.
True.
Okay.
There's avenues for doing it, and I think I always tell people like doing it who are doing the living the life and or living their
The
dream.
Yeah.
Like good for you, you know. I
agree.
wanted to chase it at some point and never did. Yeah, or I wanted to sort of do it, and I never did. I always thought it was a safer route to get a career in a different field. But you know, if you can make it work, then power to you.
But I mean, you know, I still think you did it the right way as well. You know, I don't think there's a wrong way, but you getting a steady financial income and then still being able to travel to all the events that you do, like shit. How many special events did you go to last year? I know this year you kind of took a small break, but like last year you went to almost every single special event.
Last year. So after I realized that like people were going to the SPs internationally, I mean, I was angry at TPCI for like for such a shitty schedule, competitively unfair. Like I really felt like their TPCI's SP schedule is very much against spirit of the game, like the fairness component, spirit of the game.
I agree.
It's totally not fair. And I don't know if they care or they know it and there's nothing they can do, or if they just don't care about fairness. But I mean, like, it's bullshit that you announce stuff 3 weeks in advance and then like, oh, anyone can get CPs for a race. And especially now that people's careers are sort of built on this, it's even less responsible for Pokemon to not announce regional schedules internationally. Or SP schedules internationally, and maybe oh fucking Christ! Hold on.
Time out. Sam's got important stuff to take care of.
It's actually my boss. I'm just gonna call him back afterwards.
All right.
We got more important shit to talk about.
But yeah, we were talking in our last podcast about the whole top 16 race being like so insane that like people are going to these special events and then we were talking about cheating, and I brought up that like cheating would be less prominent if the top 16 race didn't exist. I think people get so desperate for those points they'll do whatever it takes to get them. Is that like do you see that?
Any correlation?
Disagree.
Okay.
I disagree. I think part of it is also like I mean, in any community, there's like people glorify the people that do well, and for good reason. You know, people deserve and you know people deserve recognition for doing well, and sort of that sometimes gets into people's heads. If you actually think about the people in top 16 who need to like feel that pressure, it's really not that many, right? Because the years I did it, like the top 8 or so, or like top 12, even were locked pretty much by Q3. Not locked, but as long as you didn't blow tournaments, you know, as long as you consistently got top 128s or top 64s, you really couldn't. It was hard to lose your spot. I think, actually, I don't know about this year, but in previous years before this year, literally no one had lost their top 16 ranking at NAIC. So like, it's really like by a certain point, like it just gets locked up, and you know things we hear about cheating and whatnot. It comes from like all tiers of events. People trying to get their first invite that are you know or whatever. You know,
that's a good point. You know, people the glory that goes along with winning a title or winning, you know, just winning overall. That is, it seems like it's temptation enough for people to try and cheat. You know, like just winning overall.
I mean, there was this. And like I follow competitive chess, and like 2 weeks ago it was like a grandmaster was, or I don't know if it was a grandmaster or just like a very highly rated player at a tournament. He was caught like in a bathroom using like a phone in the toilet to like look up the position and like look up the computer.
Really?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
So it's like got all types of it. Like it just there's temptation and people do dumb shit.
I just want to win. Yeah. I get it. I think
Pokemon judges have done a better and better job recently trying to weed that stuff out. I mean, like if you look at like maybe like 10, 15 years ago, you'd hear of no one getting, I mean, you'd almost hear of no one getting banned from, or at least DQ'd from a tournament for whatever. You know, here today, now there's people getting DQ'd because of I don't know, marked cards or whatever reason. Like,
shit like that.
So at least, Yeah, I mean, at least there's more of a, more enforcement going on, and I do
Yeah.
feel the judges have improved,
No, I agree.
drastically.
I
in
feel
the
like the
past year.
larger the tournament, the better the judges. So it's
Yeah, I mean, it's hard for us to look back because like we haven't played as long, but you with your
yeah.
20 years or whatever, you can look and go,
I got 2 years.
yeah, you can go like, judging sucked. I know you guys are complaining a lot, but it's a lot better now, guys.
I mean, you'd be surprised, man. I used to play like top 8 matches at states with like the head judge or no judges at the table.
Go for it.
I mean,
You do whatever the hell you want.
when the tournaments were much smaller,
Right.
They were understaffed, and I mean, Pokemon still doesn't have a great compensation plan for judges.
Right.
Or I mean, sorry, I should be careful when I say that. It's some TOs, obviously give better compensation than others, and I know of certain TOs that I think compensate judges fairly, but in general, in the past, Pokemon certainly has not compensated judges very well, and so.
Well, it's not. There's not like a standard for how to compensate these judges. There's like certain ones are paid better, others are given some free product, and it's pretty much whoever's going to come for the free product you can judge, even if you literally just got your judges. You pass your judge test. So
yeah,
quality.
I know there's like stages. There's some shit that has to be done. I don't think like if you get your judge, you can't just judge a regional. I think you have to do a bunch of shit.
I'm like generalizing it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'll say like I'll like compliment one person. Like, so I know Chris Chemansky just got into judging this year, and he's done from what I heard from the TOs, he's done a fantastic job, and I think he has like a unique experience because he came from just being a top 16 player right into judging, so he sort of knows. Like, he knows when it's slow playing and when it's not. Because when you're a player, you sort of know when someone's slow playing versus if it's a tough decision. Right. And so he's better to judge, like, in those situations, whether something, like, you're better able to look at the board state and process what's going on than a judge who may not be experienced and may not understand, like, the complexity of the particular position.
No, but we've seen him voice his opinion on, like, Hey Font and stuff like that, so... That's he's definitely very outspoken in the community, so it's good to see. I didn't even know that he was strictly doing judging. I thought he was just kind of trying to do both. But that's good to have him on the judging team.
Well, I certainly don't hope he comes back to play.
He played one regional this year, right?
Yeah,
he played. He played in Portland, right?
He's still playing. And I know he's judged.
I think if Chemansky played. I think if Chemansky played again and like played like, like put all his effort into it, he would more likely than not make top 16.
Dude, he freaking got top 2 with Metagross.
Metagross is a good Metacomp.
It's good.
I was gonna play Metagross the tournament you won with Dropagarb in Seattle. I think I would have won the whole thing.
You had to make it through the riffraff. That tournament still had a lot of
riffraff.
Other stuff. Yeah,
but let's say day 2 was like 80% fucking Dropagarb.
Chris did say that it was the worst deck he's ever played, though. So I don't know.
But it beat Dropagarb. That's all that matters.
That's really all that matters. Yeah.
It's a medical. Anyway, so let's talk about you being pretty much a solo dolo. Running this or running without a team. Like, how do you feel do you think it puts you at an advantage, a disadvantage? It really doesn't make a fucking difference because you have people you test with. How do you feel about teams in general?
Yeah, so I actually do have a team. It's just like it's a group of friends. So we have a group called X-Files, and we've been around since 2006.
Okay. Underground team. All right.
Well, it's not really.
No. It's underground. It's just kidding.
All right.
It's not, when I look up your limit list, it's not on here.
It's coming out right here.
Underground
right here. Your X-Files.
Yeah, so it's not a sponsored team, so it's just really a group of friends that we work together on stuff, and so we post, every time anyone goes to a tournament, we post a list and a report, like a quick report of how the matchups went, what we feel about the deck, and so we used to do much more organized testing. We're actually doing more organized testing now for this Worlds. We'll see how that goes. But I mean, as I'm not part of a team, but I do work with a lot of people. I know, like the last, not this past season, but the season before that, I roomed a lot with like Rahul, Pablo, and Premwat, and so we would work, every week on decks, and so it wasn't like I was rolling without a team. It just wasn't a sponsor team or anything formal. And I think I have a pretty deep network when it comes to people I know, and so I'm actually going to get. I know this year I've been taking a break, just trying to get my Worlds invite and then calling it a year. But even then, there's still people I've talked to throughout the year and gotten lists from, and so on. I do plan on testing more for this upcoming season, like on my own, and so maybe I'll have something to contribute again.
But do you think that maybe being a part of a group like that gives you sort of an advantage versus somebody who just plays solo?
Oh, yeah, for sure. And like being like even I'm sort of among the top players. I'm more solo than other people, and even then I am at a disadvantage. I know like some of the other groups, they get on Discord calls for like 8 hours and they just talk decks. I don't have that time because I have like
you have a real job. You have a real job.
Well, I wouldn't call it a real job. I'd say I have a more traditional job. I don't want to.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah,
I guess you're right. Yeah, no, that's a good point. That's a good point. We don't want to put any shade on anybody. There are real jobs too. You put in the work, but yeah, you have a more traditional. That's good.
Yeah. And honestly, I do hope that like Pokemon coach or whatever becomes a real job. It becomes like a legitimate job at some point. Like a legitimate meaning like a well-paying job.
What do you think it'll take to like? In my opinion, I think Pokemon's got to back it, right?
I mean, first of all, Pokemon needs to get out of the fucking Stone Age when it comes to sponsorships and stuff. I mean, in Sword and Shield, even in like the Sword and Shield promos, as in promotional videos, like they have the characters wearing their jerseys with sponsored logos on them or whatever. But in the trading card game in real life, they can't fucking wrap it.
Maybe this is the new step. Maybe this is the new step when Sword and Shield comes out. I mean, maybe it is evolving.
We can only hope.
I mean, I also think the trading card game by nature is going to be very difficult. I think the game itself is going to have to move more mobile, like Hearthstone has, in order for there to be like, in order for it to pick up as a true gaming career, as maybe we think of Hearthstone streamers or League of Legends streamers.
Do you think that's a possibility for them to create like a ranked system for PTCGO? Like where you can have friendly matches, or you can have just like how they do on the video game, where you can do just a friendly tournament or a friendly competition versus a ranked match or something like that. Do you think that that's something that could be adapted to the PTCGO?
I think it could and it should. So one of my friends is like a doctor, like a medical doctor, and in medical school, there's a joke that even you just need to graduate. C's get degrees, right? So
yes.
Even if you get a C, you get to see patients, and you pay off your student loans. So that same concept, without elaborating, will apply to whoever's programming PTCGO. Or the team of people that is programming it. It's just not the program itself is not up to snuff to be able to handle like a ladder system and have real life prizes for tournaments. Because I mean, it took them 30 years to get Blacephalon to do an extra 30 damage when you discarded the Beast Energy with Mind Blown or something.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's
crazy. So then, okay. All right. You think that's the future? Like if the game was to grow, it has to, you think?
I think there needs to be a combination of tournaments. Yeah, you can have local tournaments with cards and stuff, and it could all go towards one ranking. But the large events need to be mobile, like the Pokemon streams right now. If you just look at it in terms of not the production value, because production value I think has been really good the past few years, but in terms of ease for a third party, like ease for someone who has no sense of Pokemon to learn the game. It's horrible. It's not a spectator sport. I mean, I play a lot of chess and I watch, and chess also, like live chess is also not a spectator sport, because you don't know what the hell's going on. These pieces are hard to see, and at least in traditional time controls, there's going to be like 15 minutes sometimes between moves, like deep thinks, and it's impossible to watch from a spectator perspective. Even though so when I watch chess, I often watch the game recaps that someone else puts on their YouTube channel. And so Pokemon needs to at least make it more watchable. especially like sometimes you just look down at cards. You have no idea what any of the cards do. And I think, they do now try to put like the card on the side, or I guess
Yeah.
Right.
the card on the side.
On the streams. Yeah, they give a description of the card. They kind of try and talk about what the card does and how it's incorporated in the decks. But even still, like that's one card that it may be the main archetype, but there's multiple cards that you're playing throughout a turn. Like you could play like you could play Acrobike into Judge into something else, whatever. I'm just giving for instances. Like I've shown friends like certain videos of people playing. They're like, dude, I have no idea what the fuck's going on.
Like imagine if you have like a video of like the game board, right? And someone's thinking, you scoot that to the side and you show and so you show a picture of an Acrobike and you explain, so he drew two and he drew into this card, lets you shuffle draw 4. Off the shuffle draw 4, you show like whatever card he played after Judge, so you can see the progression of how the turn's going. That helps spectators. I mean, for a lot of these sports, esports, it all comes from the viewer experience.
Agreed.
Yeah. So Pokemon trading card game is ranks like tier, whatever is below the lowest tier. Yeah, in terms of
tier shit.
Watchability, definitely.
So that needs to change if Pokemon were to take off, and I hope they do. I really do. I love this game, and I hope I hope they finally figure it out.
I agree.
Speaking of Sword and Shield, there's going to be a lot of new concepts added to the game, like there are to the video game. How do you think they're going to incorporate stuff like the Gigamaxing and Gigantamaxing and Dynamaxing?
What's the difference between those two? I didn't.
Gigantamaxing changes. It still makes it large, but it changes the form of your Pokemon. Dynamaxing just makes your Pokemon larger.
Okay.
So it's essentially like, okay, you have a stronger bond with this Pokemon, then that's how you can use the Gigantamaxing. I believe it's like a Z move where you can only use it for one Pokemon, versus Dynamaxing, which is, even still you can use it for one Pokemon. I don't fucking know, dude.
I mean, I'm ready for a new gimmick. I mean, I think,
me too. I agree.
I mean, Break Evolution would have been a good Dynamax.
Yeah. So we were talking about that. We're like, how do you think they're going to incorporate it? You take a fucking giant ass card and just throw it on top and be like, Dynamax.
Oh, jumbo cards. Yeah. You have to keep your side deck of jumbos.
Your backpack. We were saying that last one. Like, oh, what the fuck do they have in their backpack? Let me just go.
I mean, I'm always interested in new mechanics. I think the trading will have unexplored stuff. I mean, they're not, obviously they don't want to put trap cards in Pokemon, but more on your opponent's turn could be something. There's a lot of, they can go a lot of ways. I actually think tag teams were a pretty good inclusion, because now you have 1, 2, and 3 prize attackers. It sort of makes you have a range of possibilities when building decks. I sort of like the tag teams.
I do too.
It also, I mean, depending on the matchup, of course, it also reduces the length of the game, because sometimes games come down to taking a few knockouts, so there's best of 3s can finish in 15 minutes, which is sort of nice.
Well, but then you see, where were we in Santa Clara? The Charizard matchups lasted 15 minutes, 20 minutes tops.
Yeah.
The 3-game match, 20 minutes.
Yeah, but that's one mirror match, right? I think in general, Pikarom mirror takes longer than that. Also Pikarom versus Reshazard, a full match will take 45 minutes if you play 3 games. So it's
a good balance though. I think the game is in a good spot right now, to be honest.
Yeah, the game is really balanced right now. Or at least before
rotation.
Before the rotation.
Before rotation. I don't know. The new engine seems bad.
Could be wonky.
The new engines we have.
Speaking of that, how do you feel about this world's rotation?
Did you want it? Are you cool with it? Happy about, or would you rather played with what was it, Sun and Moon to whatever this is? What's the new set?
Unified Minds.
Unified Minds.
I mean, there's some years when they add a set that's very impactful. Like the year, 2 years ago when I did well with Drampa, they added Burning Shadows right before us. They literally just added Gardevoir and just added Golisopod. So the 2 decks in finals at Worlds, including the deck that beat my face in,
God,
They're both cards from the. Wait, was Glycopod wearing shadows? Yeah, right.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
yes.
it was
Yeah, that's right. Because I didn't know what it did on stream, so I had to.
Oh, that's the deck. That's the deck that
so
beat your
much
face.
like you.
I had no idea.
That's so much like you.
Uh,
I didn't even know.
No, so I didn't know. I didn't know if Glycopod's second attack's effect was on me or on the opponent.
Okay.
So like, I don't know if I could retreat out of the 20 less damage, or if I can't, or I needed to. I didn't know if it's like defending Pokemon is 20 less damage, or this Pokemon takes 20 less damage, which is important.
You have to Guzma around it.
Yeah. So yeah, like both of those cards that made finals at Worlds were from the new set. So it's almost like we got a new format for Worlds.
Yeah.
That year, and I think the top players will just adapt. You know, format isn't like a complete luck sack or complete crap format. Then
it doesn't matter.
This is what's gonna win Worlds.
Oh God.
Yes.
That's not
the Psyduck Slowpoke.
Oh.
I love how that card is like 10 more HP than Pikarom. Pikarom, you know?
Does it really
it's
have
got
more
250? 250.
Doesn't make any sense.
Oh my gosh,
man.
Slowpoke Psyduck, the derps. I love it.
I actually think one thing that makes the whole Pokemon game balanced more so than other games, or than some other games, is the mechanic of weakness. That if a deck becomes too strong, there's generally going to be a way to like knock it out, to knock out the big Pokemon. I mean, doesn't always work like that, but in theory, that's
because like the Charizard and the people are trying to play the Slowking. Like in theory,
I mean,
it sucked.
I mean, Slowking did well for a few weeks. The reason why Slowking ended up sucking for NIC was that people, stopped playing Reshizard.
But like Reshizard still won those 2 turns before NIC.
Right, people adapted, and so like the weakness mechanic actually makes it easier for people to adapt. Like I was a huge fan of Lucario GX card. I mean, Stefan got second at an event, OCIC this year, playing the Lucario as well. It's like, it's a good, you're able to just one-shot the Zoroark. So
that was
so you make kill the Pikarom. Boom. It when you look in, especially with this type of game, like I played a little Magic, I played that, but there's nothing. You're right. Weakness is like insane. Like you said, it just takes one deck to start getting somewhat good, and then everybody's just like, all right, let me find a card that can kill this.
I mean, well, it's either you jump on the ship or you try and beat it. Like I know there's multiple times where I've looked at the past regional and be like, okay, one of the top 8 decks, let me pick that. Or on the other hand, I've been like, okay, what beats all of these decks? Try and find something that beats it. So there's 2 different ways to go around it, but either way, I think you're right. It creates a balance, especially having the weakness.
No.
But we'll see what Pokemon has in store for it. Will it be the next Hearthstone, or will it just kind of fizzle out and be what it is now?
I don't think Pokemon as a game will ever fizzle out. Japan will keep printing cards, and like the card. So you guys know, right? The majority of the profit from Pokemon comes from like the sales of cards to like 10-year-olds.
Yes,
right.
Walmart,
Yeah,
right.
100%. Obviously, they're not making money off the singles.
I think part of the appeal. So organized play, the whole thing. So organized play, I don't know exactly where they're housed now after they restructured a while ago, but for the longest time, organized play was under the marketing arm of GPCI. And so like they do view organized play as sort of a marketing tool, because honestly, I don't think they'd be able to sell as many cards if there wasn't the allure for kids of going to these tournaments and playing. And kids do take their cards to leagues and tournaments and play a little bit, and some percentage of them stick around. So like the cards have to be usable in some context for them to continue, for the sales to continue. And so I do think as long as they keep printing cards and designing cards, the game will still be around. Pokemon as a franchise, I think Pokemon Go did for the Pokemon franchise what the Marvel movies did for the Super Marvel franchise,
right?
Which is sort of cement them in pop culture as a fixture. So like Pikachu now sort of has like Hello Kitty status almost in sure. So it's never going to go away. It's just a matter of, can this game grow, and honestly, do the people in charge want this game to grow?
Right.
That's where I see it. I think
If
it
you want
all
it,
comes to them.
the future is online.
What do you see? What
I
do you
mean,
see kind of gaining ground first with that? The card game or the video game?
the video,
Especially with the new set or the new games coming out on the Switch, like that's a huge thing coming out on a handheld system, or not a handheld system, but
Like an actual
console.
console. Not a.
I mean, the video game has its own set of problems. Like the barrier to entry for being competitive, or like I should say the steepness of the skill curve is so high. That's why they haven't been able to pick up steam.
Okay.
Competitive Pokemon battling like in VGC is super exciting to watch compared to TCG, but it's very hard to get Pokemon legally, obviously. And you know, it's there. I think Pokemon is like shooting themselves in the foot by not making it easier to breed Pokemon with exact IVs.
So
I think this next set, it's like so easy.
Like,
They've made it in this next game. It's going to be ridiculously easy to do.
No. You don't know. I think you're not fully understanding what I mean. So you know, with TCG, you order the cards, you get the cards in the mail, you sleeve them, you go to a tournament.
Okay.
I'm saying in VGC, what they need to do is you need to, I mean, after you beat the Elite Four and finish some other challenge or whatever, you need to
do whatever you
want. Put the IVs in, put the EVs in. Out comes the Pokemon. You get to use it for just competitive battling and nothing else.
So they
Something
do.
like that.
They do
I
have
like
the EVs. EVs are a little bit different. The IVs you are still able to alter with like bottle caps and stuff like that. I know in the Ultra Sun and Moon system, you have the bottle caps that allow you to max out the IVs.
Yeah, but bottle caps cost a shit ton in the whatever.
Dude, they're fucking easy to get in the Pokepalog.
Yeah, but you have to get them. I like Sam's idea. Sam's like, fuck all the bullshit. Let's give me the Pokemon.
Okay, imagine this. Imagine you got a card, you got a new card, you got your Tyranitar Sableye. It comes in, and then you then have to take a marker and write in the attacks to the fucking cards. So you have to, like, it comes with some blank space. You need to take a Sharpie and start writing in the attacks before you can use it for a tournament.
Or like, you couldn't buy singles, and you could only buy packs. And you had to buy packs until you got every card you need.
Okay,
exactly.
all right. That's good. Okay. Yeah, just give us fucking what we want. We don't give a shit. Just say, yeah.
Exactly. Or like card, and to like to activate it, you need to like do the hokey pokey in your living room. Or something. Like, I don't know, like summon the fucking demon to come out.
You're so right. I never really thought about it that way, but like when you. Like, the game is the game. It's one thing to just play the game. But when it comes to competitive, you shouldn't have to do bullshit to actually compete. Yeah. You're right.
Well,
yes. So I think Pokemon's, I'm talking in general about Pokemon. I don't know who makes this decision because I'm not as acquainted with VGC. But Pokemon's, like, stubbornness and reluctance to, I guess, live in the 21st century when it comes to this type of stuff, because I think the people who work for Pokemon are very, very much purists, right? You should train the Pokemon, you should love it, you should walk it around.
Yeah,
whatever bullshit.
No, that's true. That's true though. They're like, you or be best friends with this Pikachu, otherwise you don't get to play with it.
I mean, they're shooting themselves in the foot. The video game can be much bigger. I mean, the prize support is there, right?
It's the same. You have 300-man tournaments versus 800-man tournaments. Same winner takes $5,000, both sides in a regional. Like that's
the time investment I think on VGC is prohibitive. Obviously, people
cheat.
Yeah, they're down. The world's winner last year.
I wouldn't call it. Okay, so I would say like it's morally ambiguous whether it's right or wrong, right? So like, as you get older, I mean, when you're in school, you get brainwashed, but after you get older, you learn that something is illegal doesn't mean it's morally wrong. There's a lot of things that were really American and world history that used to be legal.
Right.
And there are a lot of things that were really fucked up, or that were like, that we view as great things today that used to be illegal. So you could go to jail for doing certain things, right? So So yes, it's illegal to gen your Pokemon in VGC, but like
Is it
morally,
wrong?
is it not wrong? Do you get a competitive advantage? That's a different boat altogether. And I don't play I don't play VGC. I mean, I have an opinion, but it's like not my place to really comment on it.
I got an opinion. Do what you want. Just like you said, just play the game. I know there was that whole controversy with the guy who won last year. He forgot his DS at home in like Brazil or wherever he was from, and then one day he had like a full shiny team with perfect IVs, and it's like, how could he possibly do that in one day? You know what he did? He freaking genned them, right? Shut up. Who cares?
No, but okay, so like obviously the people who run the program are reasonable people because obviously everyone knows it happens.
Yes.
But it's the only reasonable way to get a good competitive circuit,
Right.
you know?
Yeah.
Agreed.
There's no way that people are IVs across the board. Oh, and 0 IV in the attack stat for special attackers. Somehow.
Perfect.
Like, there's, yeah. So, like, I think Pokemon just needs to, like, whoever's in charge of these decisions, both the TCG and VGC perspective, they need a dose of pragmatism in their decision making as opposed to staying purist to whatever original, you know, antiquated philosophies they have from 1870.
1870s.
Before
Yeah.
When I'm looking at like competitive Pokemon, to be honest, when I was at Worlds last year, when they had Poke and Tekken up on the big screen, I could not sit.
Dude, that shit was
It
dope.
was so that is very entertaining. Any fighting game is very entertaining to watch. And I was like, you know what, that could be the most popular game.
You got your
by
boy
far.
Decidueye shooting darts out there.
Like, dude, the whole thing was so fun to watch. I was like, I would watch that over anything. Like, not even close.
Even VGC is exciting.
Yeah,
I mean,
It's okay. You also need to know what's going on. When I watched the fighting, I'm like,
you see the health bar go down. Like, you see.
Yeah, but like, why did he switch out? And what is that
That's
like?
the commentator's job. That's the commentator.
Yeah, but I don't know. You're right.
Even if people commentate like, "Oh, he dodged there, he did that there," like.
But with Pokken, it just looks like he beat his ass. You know, you can watch any fighting game. It's like he beat his ass, and that's why he won. You don't know what he did, but he beat his ass. That's it.
I mean, live action games are obviously going to be more appealing.
I'm watching the shit out of that. I was like, why is that not like that? Should be the most popular game by far.
What?
Like when it comes to like spectating. Like, I'm in the middle of a match. I'm like, I don't even
He's
care,
just looking.
dude.
He's like this.
That-
Did you play it? Oh yeah. Sorry, I'm watching Pokken. Go ahead. Go ahead. You didn't attach return. Yeah. It's still. I don't know. Whatever. Yeah. I was just sort of watching it again.
It was dope.
It was a lot of fun. Well, you know, we can only hope for the best. We got all these ideas and you know, I guess hopes for the new generation of Pokemon, but until they get.
I really hope one day they hire. I really hope one day they hire a former competitive, like a top level competitive player to run organized play.
I hope they hire you to get it done, Sam.
I will know democracy in my life.
I'll take the job.
It's so hard to get anything done in the company.
Yeah.
It's like I've seen.
What if
do you like how they give all the tournaments to tournament organizers, or do you wish that Pokemon would just run them all? How do you feel about that?
I mean, it's. I don't mind either way. I don't think there's a right or I don't think it affects attendance or revenue, for example. In a major way. Like I think
it affects the quality of the tournament to the attendees.
Sure.
There's
shitty TOs versus better TOs.
Exactly. I wouldn't even say they're shitty.
They're shitty TOs.
I mean,
it's decent, and it like I haven't gone to a tournament and was like, this was a horrible time. It was more, I've gone to a different tournament and it was like, this tournament was run way better than the last one. The last one was fine, but this one, I had more fun here and I liked what they did here.
I'm not going to shit on any particular TO. I think they're all like great people. They love the game, and obviously some tournaments are run smoother than others. Some tournaments have no bathrooms, and
exactly. That's what I'm saying. That's the difference. It's like it's not big difference. It's more like if Pokemon just ran them all.
But I think it doesn't. I think it doesn't affect the bottom line as much as top level competitive players think it does. Like, it doesn't affect the card sales at Target and Walmart. It doesn't affect the kids that are, the 11-year-old kid going to his or her first tournament. Like, it doesn't affect that. It just, I mean, Pokemon. If you look at tournaments today versus even 5 or 6 years ago in terms of how they were judged, how they're staffed, pricing, the venues, like, it's a vast improvement, and I think they're moving in the right direction. So as long as it continues moving in the right direction, I don't care if Pokemon takes it or if another company, like for example, ESL runs it in Australia. They run fantastic events. Granted, they only run like 300 people internationals, but nonetheless, the production's very good. Yeah,
that's good. All right. I think we're on the same page there.
We can only hope. Like I said, we can only hope for the best.
I like how we just got into this whole like the future of Pokemon. Where like he was like, "Hey Sam, how long you been playing? 20 years? What's up? Okay, we don't really care. Anyways, what's the future of Pokemon looks like for the last 30 minutes?" It was great. I love
that. With that said, that's all we got time for today. So, Sam, is there any special shout-outs you want to give to the followers or viewers of this show?
Yeah, thanks for having me on. Follow me on Twitter @Blastoise. That's Sam and Blastoise.
Down there.
It's down there.
There, yeah. All right. Yep. Thanks to oh God, what's his name? Zach.
I'm done.
All right. Thanks to Just Kevin for having me on this show.
Yeah.
Fuck Zach.
Yeah, fuck Zach.
Wow, dude. The only person that hangs out with you, Kevin doesn't even like you. Tell me how you didn't want you on.
That's not even true. What the fuck? Oh my god. Anyway. All right. Don't forget to subscribe, everyone. We got new episodes every Friday. Check out the merchandise below. But before we go, we got one last thing. We are doing this awesome giveaway.
Forgot. I know you did.
I did not forget.
Trust me. I want this.
I did not forget. We're doing this awesome giveaway. All right, you have to pick your top 3 Worlds contenders, okay? So we're doing the lowest score wins. So say you pick the people that win first, second, and third at Worlds. You get a 6-point total. That is the lowest score you could possibly get. But if you get somebody that's like, say, 100, you get 100 points. So you want the lowest possible score. And we are giving away, let me find it. No, I got it right here. We're good. We are giving away this awesome Chum-Li portrait.
Yes.
He looks like a fucking Team Flare grunt.
He does.
And I don't know. I know he was talking about going. I don't think he's going to be coming to the World Championships anymore. But we are going to have him sign it, so it will be a signed portrait of Chum-Li.
And we
wait. If you don't make day 2, it's like 0
Correct.
points, right?
I don't know if it's 0
whatever
points.
Position, whatever position they fall, like, because they'll have everybody ranked from like first to fucking whoever enters, right? Like how many people made Worlds?
No, not if you don't make
if you
day
don't
2.
make day 2, yeah, then you're fucked. Okay, yeah. If there's no rank, then you're that's 0. No, that's not 0. That's not 0. It just doesn't count.
You get 1 less point as the last ranked person.
Yeah.
So like
one more point. Point. So whoever makes day 2, say there's how many people make day 2?
I don't know.
Like 100.
Okay, so you'll get 121.
You get like
121. There you go. So it'll be something like that.
Wait, then you would just pick like 5 or like 3 people who don't make day 2. Who won't make day 2.
You want them to make the lowest score. You want the lowest score.
You want 6.
All right, I'm gonna leave this one to you guys figure out.
No, you have to pick this shit. You have to pick.
You have to pick 3 people that you think will win World.
3 top players
that won't win World.
That will.
Oh, lowest score wins. I thought you said highest score.
Who said highest score wins?
Fuck. All right.
Don't pick yourself because you're not winning.
Yeah, don't.
I'm not picking myself.
I'm just kidding.
You're the only person we told not to pick themselves.
I'm just kidding. I have faith in you. I have faith in you.
I'll be sure.
Is Torden day?
I don't know.
Like, is Tornado?
I'm sure he is. You're looking for.
He probably
for
is.
an auto in. Okay.
No, I'm obviously going to pick three
I
people.
don't think so.
who are
Oh yeah.
pretty.
He's not. He's 18th.
Europe is top 22.
Oh yeah, then he's in.
I'll
He's
pick
18.
Tord.
Okay.
I'll pick
Alright.
Tord. And then I should pick someone from like each continent.
Sure, that's good.
Well,
That's good.
Let me look at the standings rank. I feel bad picking Tord. He never does well at Worlds. Now this will be the year. He'll do it for me.
Yeah, he said he's coming on after
Yeah.
Worlds, and it's gonna be his victory.
Who do I
Victory.
know is working on like a good deck? I'll pick myself, as in Michael Pramawak.
Michael,
There you
okay,
go.
Pram.
And then who's
Picks a DGG player that's not really on DGG. All right.
there's a South Africa. Holy shit.
Oh, you're taking the South
people-
Africa guy?
No, there's three people. Holy crap, there's three people, and none of them have real names. The first one is Moons 10. Like Moons 10. All right, well.
He's winning for sure.
Moon's 10.
Moons
Are they
10.
auto dead day 2, all three of them?
I don't know.
That
All right,
should.
I'm gonna go to Oceania.
What about Japan?
All right,
what about
I'll
Japan?
pick
You
my
can pick
boy-
a Japanese
boy-
player.
I'll pick my boy Clifton Go.
Clifton Go. I will tell you that you are the only person who picked Clifton Go.
So I'm picking him because I feel like he always comes really prepared, and no one else will have picked him.
Okay, yeah.
All right.
All right,
Smart.
fair enough.
That's good
Yeah.
input.
I mean,
I'd say
he-
almost
he got
like 80% of people pick Pedro Torres.
Pedro Torres. Nah, man, that guy sucks.
A lot of people have picked Tord too.
The worst.
Oh.
Maybe I should switch from Tord.
No, actually,
I gotta
going through
Like
it.
one
Yeah,
other
we only
person
got
picked
one
Tord.
other person picking Tord.
All
So
right.
you're good.
You're smart.
Clifton's my wild card. He could do really well or really badly.
Well, depends on how bad you want to win this portrait. Let's show it. Let's show it
I
one
mean-
more time. You don't want to win this? Come on, bro.
I do want to win it. That's why I have my money on Clifton.
He's smart.
All right.
He's not tying anyone. He's making sure he's either winning or he's losing.
Winning or
All
losing.
right, there you go.
Yeah.
Go big or go home.
Sack or scoop.
Sacking
dude.
or
Sack
scooping. There we go. All right, once again, that's all the time we have for. So thanks again. Don't forget to subscribe. We got new episodes again every Friday. Check out the merchandise below. But now it's time to scoop it up.